Do you have some big do's and don'ts when writing a screenplay?
Um, don't chase the market.
Oh God, yes. I'm gonna start doing superhero movies because it's hot. Like,
Oh, and by the time you're done, it's not, right?
oh God, no.
So, yeah, don't chase the market. Do these days try and think why you're the best writer to tell this story. Actually, no, go the other way. Find a story where really you're the best writer for it. So this matches a little bit with your personal brand. You've probably heard other guests talk about this. The idea that you know, draw from something that's happened to you or some expertise you have. Don't turn up your nose at maybe even the job that you do. Like for example, I had a client who was coming up with this courtroom thriller, and I was like, "Have you been in the courtroom? No. Are you a woman? No. Have you experienced sexism? No." It was like all about like sexism in the courtroom and all. Like, and I was like, not that you're not allowed to write that, but the project didn't feel authentic.
Right.
And we got to the fact that at one point he was a logger in the 70s.
Oh.
He was he was in his 20s. He was a hippie who had to go into logging to support his family. And into that logging company came these ex-cons that were hired from the local jail.
Well, hello.
I was like, yeah, exactly. So he wrote an original pilot around that. It was awesome. And guess what? He's really the person to write that.
He's the only person to write that.
Yeah. Now, did it have to match verbatim his own experience? No, it was inspired by his own experiences. So you don't have to find something that is like where you have to protect the rights of all the people around you. It's more the idea that you have some authority in this world. It feels authentic and it pitches really well. That way you're connected to it.
It's kind of like if Tarantino would do a Pixar movie, which I would go see. But that's truly not on brand, is it?
Well, but if he did a Pixar movie,
could you imagine?
He's king of certain genres, right? So in a way, if you were going to animate a certain genre, he'd be the person to do it. Plus, what if he did something about a mouse who worked in a video store and became an iconic
film
director?
Well, it's a bit on the nose.
Way to tell.
Bit on the nose, but yes. Yes.
He'll do it, man. So,
he'll do it. And can you actually, for everyone who's listening, because we have a lot of first-time screenwriters who listen to this, can you just describe what on the nose is? Because that's a note that a lot of people get, and they just don't get what that means. Can you just really quickly explain that?
Well, I think that the way that you just sort of critiqued what I said with on the nose is I was being awfully literal, right?
Yes.
It was like, well, that is definitely his story, literally. It's not taking maybe an experience and nuancing it, right? So that's one version of on the nose. But when we're talking about dialogue being on the nose, it's often when someone's speaking their thoughts or feelings out loud. So they're saying things like, "Oh, I'm
so angry right now."
Right. I'm experiencing this mixture of entertainment and embarrassment right now in talking to you, Alex. Right. Like that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is an epidemic as well. A lot of times with first time writers as well. I did it when I started writing. I was writing right on the nose. And that was the note I would get back from studios when they would see my scripts and they would say, "It's on the nose. It's on the nose." And I'm like, what the hell is, I had to look what on the nose meant. And I was like, oh, it's called about nuances, subtext, a look. Always show, don't tell, whenever you can.
And it goes back to what you said about the audience has educated themselves in movies and TV. They're a really smart, savvy audience. So they get the context. All they have to see is that visual clue, and they get it. A whole story is told.